Hi guys, Chris from The Ultimate Recycler. Have you ever dug up an old bottle in your garden or in your backyard, or found some old ones in the shed, or maybe your grandfather or uncle used to collect them and you don't know what to do with them? Well, I'm now going to embark on a series of videos about Australian found antique bottles. Someone asked me to do a video on them and I thought it's way too complicated just to do one, so I'll do a whole series. I've been collecting bottles for most of my life, and even though I do have a second-hand shop and do buy and sell them, there's a lot more to bottles than just a commodity. So I thought I'd start with an introduction, because there's not a lot online about Australian found antique bottles. There's a bit about American ones, but not much really about Australian stuff, and there's quite a lot of misinformation out there as well. So if I put together a series for YouTube, then it might become a good reference for beginners. I'm not going to get too complicated, but I am going to try and cover the full range concerning collecting bottles in Australia. So we'll start with antique. The word antique technically means an item is 100 years old. So whilst a lot of bottles come under the category of antique bottles, they're not really antiques. 100 years is around 1920s from now, and that one is around about 100 years old, but certainly milks and a lot of these other more modern bottles into the 30s, 40s, 50s and even 60s are definitely not antique, but that doesn't really matter. We're just going to cover the collecting of old bottles. We don't need to get tied up in technical definitions. Alright, so I'm going to do a series on these, including dating and identifying, what to be aware of if you are starting to buy bottles. There are fakes around. There's also repairs that are sort of hidden, so you need to be a bit careful, particularly when you get up into the topper end of value. As with everything, there's always deceitful people, so if I can give you a bit of a guide there, that should help. We're also going to look at where to find them, about fossicking, how to clean them or have them polished. I'll do a rough video on valuations, even though I'm not actually going to put dollar values on them because that goes out of date quickly, but just to give you an idea of what is worth something and what probably never will be. And we'll do some details on types, and seeing so I've mentioned that now, I'll scan around this collection. So we start here with Goldfields blacks, generally sort of 1850s through to 1870s era. Then you've got summer gins, and there's also bitters and schnapps bottles. Then you've got your marble bottles or your cod bottles. They're the ones with the marble in the top, which fascinate people. Lamonts, torpedoes, transfer ginger beers, and this area is probably the most collected, and certainly where you'll find a lot of the value too, in the top end bottles. And we have salad oils, and the big tall ones are vinegar, beer bottles as well. There's also little pots and toothpaste lids. Some of those can be worth a lot of money. Stoneware, inks, little perfumes, and then you've got cordials, which are often quite majestic looking bottles. The blue is a castor oil. There's a medicine and chemist bottles. Then you've got a whole different category of preserving jars. There's a schnapps bottle. Then in the larger stoneware you've got demijohns and bung jars and more of the pottery items. Another collecting field that's getting more and more popular is soda siphons. And you've got your sauces and chutneys and pickles as well. Then you've got more household stuff. You've got milks and creams, internal thread bottles, and into the 50s and 60s you've got oil bottles, household crown seals, and even ceramic label bottles. And it's interesting that collecting in Australia has been quite popular since probably the 1970s, maybe late 60s, and at that stage we were drinking out of these, and now ceramic label bottles are becoming quite sought after. So it's been about a 50-year passion for a lot of people, well, certainly the collecting fraternity. and it's something that I think will continue, and good bottles will continue to increase in value. It's a very rewarding hobby. Most of the people I know that are serious about this are more interested in the history than the money. It's not really something you get into to make a lot of dollars. It feels like you're treasure hunting, but really if you wanted to make dollars you wouldn't go out with a shovel and work hard all day with the off chance of finding something that isn't damaged. But it's all about the passion of collecting, the passion of history. Some people specialise in, most people specialise after a while in a certain type of bottle. Some specialise in bottles from their hometown. So, you know, someone might collect ginger beers from all around Australia, whereas someone else might collect bottles from Stawell, which is a country Victorian town. So they might only have a couple of ginger beers and then all the other bottles that come from Stawell. Some people collect bottles from certain companies, or at least maybe a family member was connected with an aerated waters factory and they'll collect along those lines. Preserving jars are quite collectible. So it gives you a bit of an introduction here. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to follow this. I'll do a lot of parts. I'll probably run a separate playlist on bottles, even though it does kind of come under my second-hand dealing theme, and it all comes under the big umbrella of recycling. Not that we're putting these in a recycle bin, but you know, they were once considered rubbish and now they're treasured. So hopefully you'll learn a bit about this. Should be a good stop-off point for beginners to follow my videos, bank up some knowledge, and it won't be long where you'll go to a museum or watch an old film set in, you know, the 1900s and start saying, oh, that bottle isn't the right age. So once you've got a bit of knowledge, it tends to create more interest, and particularly if you like the history of your local town. So thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, give me some feedback. I will do, as I said, videos on individual styles of bottles. I'll do some extra research and give you some more information, and if there's something you'd like to find out about, let me know and I'll produce a video for you. Thanks for watching. Till next time, bye.